to infinity and beyond.
What's up, everybody? Roger and James here from DisKingdom.com, and in this episode we are going to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2, which kind of got a load of details and a lovely juicy trailer was shown off at Star Wars Celebration. So James, what was your initial thought of this sort of announcement?
Well, I mean, nothing too unexpected, but it was a very pretty trailer. Obviously no actual gameplay elements, although it does say in-game engine used, but we know that's not really something we can base anything on. Honestly, I'm more excited for the novel that's being attached to it, Inferno Squad. But once we know more, when we know more about the solo campaign, how long is it supposed to be? We know it's supposed to track the Imperials, but other than that, we don't know much about it. And then, what about these co-op modes that they're talking about? That's what I'm interested in hearing about. But
I mean, I'm fresh off the trailer. It looked epic. I mean, last week my television decided to no longer decide what to turn on, so we had to go out on the end of the week on my day off, and we went off and brought ourselves a new television. And you can probably see the old television is now stacked up behind me, because there was like no effort to go. And there was this kind of thing of, I've brought myself a brand new. I thought, well, if I'm buying a new television, I'll get myself a 4K one. So the only 4K content was a load of sort of trailers. So watching the Last Jedi trailer and stuff. Of course, the new trailer for Star Wars Battlefront come on. So instead of grabbing my phone, it's because I've got a YouTube app on the television, watching it on the big screen. I'm sitting there like, yeah, this looks awesome. And then they're going, I need a PlayStation 4 Pro by the time this comes out. Just like, I just thought, wow, this thing just, maybe because it was just on the big screen, it looked epic. It was just like, it felt like a movie kind of, they had all the action scenes, they had you could definitely see they're pushing down on the space flight and that solo campaign, which is the major aspects of the first game which were missing.
Yes. Not just the game, but actually The Force Awakens as well didn't have any major space battles, depending on how you want to categorize that final fight against Starkiller Base. But yeah, absolutely, as a fan of X-Wing and TIE Fighter and all those games, yes, I am super psyched for the space battles, assuming they implement it properly. And if some of that can also be done in the single-player campaign, absolutely 100% in.
See, to me, I almost view this as like, right, so you had Battlefront 1, which I did actually, I fired up last night and played for about an hour or so while I recorded a bit of footage. Literally, you could tell there must have been some Star Wars hype, because I was loading into levels there were full rooms that were, a year, 18 months after release was pretty cool. The fact that, basically them taking everything from the first game, they've got the maps, they've got the heroes, they've got the mechanisms. It's all about tweaking the engine, tweaking what was done. So everything that was in number 1, just include that and add more. And that's how this one felt. It's like, right, we're adding more space, we're adding more heroes, we're adding new planets. But they know that they've got the basics done. So that the hard work, the hard graft has been done. Now they can run off this engine. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a 3 and 4 over the next 10 years as well. Every 2-3 years.
I mean, that's what I thought about the original Battlefront, of course, was that the graphics and the sounds and everything were gorgeous. Like, they had a very pretty looking game, one of the best released that year, but there wasn't much content to the game itself, and it felt like they've got the framework now, which means the next game will be fantastic. And it's important to note, one of the things that they don't have this year is a season pass.
Well, there's been a little bit of I've read a few articles last night about this being, there was a kind of a flat-out sort of denial of this fact of, there's no season pass this year. It fragmented the audience. It didn't work. We saw a major drop-off because obviously not everyone joining in had all the new levels, and it was causing problems because all the, the die-hard ones are all jumping onto the new levels. So they've said that and then they started backtracking a little bit later on, then sort of saying, well, we've not announced full details and stuff, because while I don't know if they're going to be going down the same route of doing the 4 expansion packs with a season pass, there's still going to be DLC, either probably microtransactions. There's probably, wouldn't surprise me if heroes or costume changes or upgrades become paid. I think they're just going to try and fund it slightly differently. Maybe the maps are free, but there was a little bit of backtracking on this because on the last game they didn't announce the season pass till a month before release. There was, I think, something said in an investor call or something like that, and EA have started trying to sort of backpedal a little bit because I think there might be a season pass, and that, maybe like the upcoming Injustice 2 where the season pass includes some heroes and a few things, but maybe they've just dropped the idea of the new maps and stuff, which it's a shame because I did like having the new expansions because it felt like a way to come back in, but then I also wouldn't, if they had a monthly update or something like that with new content, that might be a good way of bringing some money in.
I mean, one of the biggest complaints about Battlefront 1 was the DLC, the insane cost on the season pass. Now, as you pointed out, they did not say that doesn't mean no DLC. And I have absolutely no problem if they want to do cosmetic stuff or access to additional heroes that can only be done through DLC or even additional single-player content. I wouldn't mind if they, did a campaign and then after a couple months they dropped down another campaign level or a co-op horde mode or something like that. But the idea of not having to pay for new multiplayer maps is a very good one. I think it worked out pretty well for Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
I often see a lot of people going on about, Titanfall 2, we've got these new maps that just came out and everybody can get them. So as long as they can release those maps for free, I think it does build up enough goodwill that if, they pop on and they go, well, you can get this special costume for Rey that has her Episode 8 costume in it. So you can use Rey, you get her in one of the hero tokens if they decide to not change that. But now instead of the normal Rey, with her Episode 7 outfit, you now have Episode 8 Jedi Rey or whatever.
I'm just bringing up this article here just about this season pass because, like I said, I think it's apparently the director of Battlefront 2 said we don't have a season pass, which said there's not a lot of wriggle room there. However, it was later said by EA they said EA reached out to us to withdraw the confirmation that there won't be a season pass for Battlefront 2. EA sent them a statement saying, while we're not ready to confirm any live service plans just yet, what we can say is we have heard the feedback from our Battlefront community loud and clear. We know that they want more depth, more progression, and more content, so we're focused on delivering that in its many dimensions of Star Wars Battlefront 2. We'll have more to share about our plans too. The fact that they've reached out to straight away and said, please can you withdraw this and here's a statement, says to me there's a season pass. It's just maybe in a different format.
I mean, as long as it's not maps, I'm fine with whatever the heck they want to do with the season pass, or at least as long as it's not multiplayer maps. Single player maps, co-op maps, sure, whatever. Skins for your characters, fine with that. If it's you'll have access to weapons that other people won't have, I would have a problem with that. I think a large part of the community would have a problem with that. But, EA's been in this game long enough. I think they would realize that they can only do this on like a cosmetic level or a faster unlock level. Or, if there's a loot crate system, kind of an Overwatch-style loot crate system of some sort, access to more loot crates, that kind of thing.
I think, and this is this whole thing about microtransactions of, things like the Destiny and the Overwatch where they have the new updates and the new things. I mean, it's that kind of catch-22, isn't it, of having expansion packs add depth and they bring you back into the game, but I think they found they separated the audience, and also as well they had like that 2-week early thing as well. So obviously, like when the new packs come in, all I would ever do was go through the new playlists for the new levels. I didn't play the old stuff, so of course if you had anybody older on there, but again, these are long-time platforms. These are meant to be played for a couple of years and for them to keep raking money. Because then obviously that thing with Star Wars Battlefront, like now, anyone playing it like last night probably isn't spending any more money with them, whereas microtransactions will just continue to bring money in.
Yeah, and I think, that worked for Halo. It worked for Titanfall 2. Anyway, not the first one maybe. But, yeah, as long as people feel that there's value in the microtransactions, whether or not, you've you agree with them on a moral level, or as long as people feel there's value in them, people will buy them. I won't buy them, but
No.
just like free to play mobile games, the people who play for free get subsidized by the people who end up dropping $1,000 on the games.
I mean, there's also the other side of things. If you're buying the full game, you are contributing and you're still paying for it. You're still paying the $60 for the game. You are still buying the full game, and you still have that. There's no kind of just. They're still making the money on it, and they know that, and they want to sell as many of them. I think I think having this story is quite cool. The idea that you're playing this bit between like Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. You're playing it from a brand new character, from a brand new planet, which is completely being that kind of wanted to join the Empire rather than was forced to. So there was a special panel shown from Star Wars Celebration, which was one of the great things about this year's celebration. Was a lot of the big panels were shown live, so we could watch it if we weren't there. So I was able to watch that panel and stuff, and just in general, they seem to be going into a lot of depth. They've brought it was Mitch in or something like that, who's I think used to work on GameSpot or something like that. He's doing he wrote the story. There's a new main character, and like you said, there's even a novel kind of interconnected with this. Yeah,
I mean, so far in the other media, books, video games, etc., we really haven't seen much in this time period between Episode 6 and Episode 7. Obviously, originally that was because they wanted to keep all the Episode 7 secrets.
Yeah.
And now they want to keep Luke Skywalker secret, what he was doing between 6 and 7 and now 8. But I think once 8 comes out, the floodgates are going to just open for comic books, video games, and it's good to see that we're already seeing that opening up with Battlefront 2. So.
Yeah, so it's funny because I remember because I read that Lost Stars novel like last year or so, and that kind of was in that whole period between setting it up. I like the fact that they've gathered a new. I also like the fact that we're playing from the Empire's point of view, because I think that's quite fun, and I think as well playing as the baddie and playing as, I mean, whether or not this whole thing about she's trying to get revenge on the Empire for the Empire. It's like, how long are we expecting it? I'm expecting maybe 6 to 8 hours on this single player kind of the Call of Duty kind of level, and I think that's like what a lot of them have said. They realised that people wanted that. People wanted that experience. They didn't want, and all the multiplayer stuff is the core of the game. But I think they definitely felt. The way they've been pushing this single player campaign feels like they want to do that Battlefront, that sort of the Call of Duty-esque kind of thing. Yeah, 6 to 8 seems reasonable to me. I'm hoping for probably 10 to 12, but 6 to 8 seems more likely. It's just personal hope, not an actual expectation. 25-hour.
No. Although if they did do what they had in Battlefront 2, the original one from way back, of the Galactic Conquest mode, which was kind of, you would go from planet to planet and try to conquer it for either the Rebellion or the Confederacy or the Empire or whatever. Honestly, even if that has only like the barest of like story content to it, I could play that mode for just days at a time. That would be awesome. But yeah, either way, the fact that we're playing the Empire will be interesting to see what we're doing with that and how they kind of balance that line of, you're playing for the Empire, but we still need to make you be a likable protagonist. Yeah. So, we'll see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, also I've got all of the eras. So we've got the Clone Wars. We've also got prequels. We've got the classics, and we've got the new movies. So we've seen different characters. We've seen Darth Maul, Yoda. We've seen Luke Skywalker, Kylo Ren, and Rey. So nice right across the board there, kind of going there. I'll be honest, I'm expecting all the heroes from the first game just to be in there. Whether or not some of them are extra paid, but they've done the models, they've done the scans and stuff. I think they'll throw them in there first off just to kind of bulk it out a bit. And in some ways, they don't really want to show them off too much because everyone knows all them. There's the new ones that people are interested in. Well, I suspect, and also they showed off there were some droids that you can, I think you can even play as. They've even brought in different planets and stuff, so that's all looking good. They've also reintroducing classes, so there's 4 different classes of like type of person, so not everyone is the same, but it's like scout, officer, tank, and something else. So definitely kind of going down that line of
they want to go back to progression. You can upgrade your characters and stuff. I think they just add a little bit more depth to it.
Yeah, that was definitely something missing from the first game because you kind of felt, for better and worse, just a face in the crowd. It made it feel like you had some epic battles going on, but it felt like your contributions to them were fairly minimal. Now, if they have like a medic class, that's normally the class that I end up playing in games like this, I could actually jump into multiplayer at that point, because if it's a class based around shooting other people, well, I'm just going to die a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my role in most multiplayer games.
No, see, it's probably either sniper or tank kind of tends to slide into my thing of being a little bit further back and like popping them off stuff. But it's definitely, I think this is going to be good. I think we added a lot of aspects to it. Just as a general, really, I'm just looking at this going, this looks good. I'm in. They did announce a deluxe edition called the it was like the elite, basically like the elite trooper squadron deluxe. So whereas like last time they did the deluxe version and the normal version, this one is priced $20 more than the standard version. I do think the prices were a little bit odd in the UK, but they literally like just flip the symbol. It's like, ooh, 80 quid seems a bit pricey, but so this one here, you features a number of different items. There's quite a few different stuff included in it. You get the Elite Officer Upgrade Pack. So you get a Battle Commander Epic ability. You get a Heavy Metal Upgrade Pack with Personal Shield and some guns. You get Armored Assault Upgrade. You get Master Specialist upgrades. You also get access to it 3 days early, because obviously the main game comes out on November the 17th worldwide on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC. The Epic version or the Elite version also includes, like I said, 3 days access early, so you get a little bit and you get all the Last Hero pre-order stuff, which you do get if you do the pre-order anyway, which includes 2 Last Jedi theme looks for Kylo Ren and Rey. You get an ability modifier for the Millennium Falcon, which turns it into the Last Jedi version, and 2 unique ability modifiers for Rey that allows you to control the minds of your enemies and create confusion on the battlefield, and 2 epic ability modifiers for Kylo Ren that allow you to freeze and pull your opponents towards you with the Force, and you can also upgrade your First Order hero ship. So they definitely look like they're going down this upgrade path for different characters and different looks and stuff, and maybe as well doing different skins for different characters seems to be a big thing as well.
Yeah, and as long as a lot of these items, not counting the cosmetic ones, are available to regular players, just not right up front, then I don't think too many people have a problem with it. I know that they did have the Han Solo blaster, the Sora Sub 50 from the first Battlefront was available eventually. It was like one of the last things you could unlock, but if you paid extra for the launch version, you could get it right up front. And that did actually create a bit of an advantage because it was the best gun in the game.
Yeah.
But it sounds like these upgrades are kind of more personal than choosing your weapon the way it was in the first game, because from what I understand of the first game, there were basically a handful of weapons, and if you weren't using one of those weapons, you were basically playing a suicide game. So
but what's interesting with all these release dates, because obviously, like I said, out November 17th. It's also out 3 days early if you get the Elite version, which is on November the 14th, which is like, okay. But then they're also going to be doing play first trials on EA Access and Origin Access on November the 9th. So obviously EA Access, Xbox One, Origin. I looked into this, what was it, £4, $4 on that? I'm going to get EA Access that month. For the sake of £4, play the game a week early. Yeah, I will be all over that, because, well, if you get to play the game early, if they get to play it, I'll play it on it, because I'll pick up the PlayStation 4 version of the game anyway. But yeah, I'm going to jump onto that EA Access version and play it a week early. I don't see whether or not I do the story mode. I might keep that back a bit for the PS4 version. But jumping from system to system isn't great because you redo everything. But apparently, if you do buy the game on the Xbox, anything you do in that EA trial will carry over. For me, it's more just a case of, well, if I can play it, I've got a console there and I can play it for a couple of quid for a week early. It sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, so I actually have the EA Access on my Xbox One. I've had it for actually over a year now, and it's been worth every penny. if they do Battlefront the way they did Battlefield 1, the story mode will be restricted. Like, you could only do two or three levels in Battlefield 1. I assume that's what they'll do in Battlefront, especially since the early access tends to allow you to play 10 hours, and if the campaign's only 6 or 8 hours, then you could just play through the entire game. But for me, it's been a great thing because all the EA games come out on it, and I was able to try out Mass Effect Andromeda that way. And it got fairly negative / lukewarm reviews, but I actually had a great time with the game. And so getting a chance to play it, I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'm actually just going to go ahead and pick it up. And if I had got it on Xbox One instead of PC, I would have, continued on with the progression. And it acts as a great just demo system, but also after a game's been out for a long time, they put them in the vault. And
Battlefront's on there, isn't it?
Yeah, the first Battlefront, none of the expansion packs are. So you have to pay for the expansion packs if you want those. But if Battlefront 2 doesn't have expansion packs, then in theory, a year and a half after it comes out, it becomes free to everybody on EA Access. You just suddenly have this new injection of players, which might bring older players back. It'll bring in these new players, and they'll all give it a resurgence while we wait for Battlefront 3 at that point.
I mean, I expect, there's not going to be a lot of people probably like me with both consoles under there and jumping. But for me, it's like, well, if I can play it a week early, and then obviously with what we do, it's like, that's perfect. That's exactly, and also, in some ways, I get some practice in for when I play the real version. But it's that thing of, I mean, obviously, I think it's going to look beautiful because we might know more about the Scorpio by then, and obviously there'll be a PS4 Pro version, so it's going to look pretty nice on them. But just in general, I think it's I have that thing with the Elite version is a little bit like why release it 3 days early? Why not just do? I mean, I suppose they're trying to get people over to EA Access and stuff, but. And I wouldn't surprise me if they did what they did before, where they did a couple of free weekends. I think they know they've got full faith in this, that this is going to sell millions and millions of copies, and that these weekends probably bring in more sales than they cost. People go, oh yeah, I played it, I don't like it, kind of.
I mean, there will obviously be people who play the demo or the EA Access, and they'll be like, this wasn't for me, and they won't continue to play it. But those people are probably never going to play it in the first place because. No. You can generally tell with something like this. You're either into the Star Wars hype or you're not, or you're into the first-person shooter hype or you're not. But putting it on EA Access, putting it out there, I mean, if you don't want to have EA Access or you're a PlayStation-only player, you can get it at 3 early days by spending an extra $20. Honestly, it doesn't sound like a good deal to me, but... There are people who will pay it. There are people that will buy it, and it's certainly, their money to spend however they want. So
I must admit, I mean, if I'm going to pre-order it, I'm probably thinking I might, because last year I just got the normal version and not the deluxe version, but I ended up buying the season pass anyway, because there was that thing of looking at it and going, oh, is it really worth it? For this one here, I'm going, I'm waiting for the prices to fluctuate a little bit more, because it tends to be game gets announced, game is at full price, and then they start going into a price war. Mario Kart is a prime example. I got that pre-ordered for next week. That one started up at like this $59.99, and within like a couple of weeks the price came down to about $42. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen to Star Wars. I'm not probably going to do digital because again the prices for physical is just often so much more cheaper. But with having an Xbox One that gathers dust, I might as well use it for a week and have a bit of fun on Star Wars. But generally as a whole, very excited about this game. It definitely looks like an epic title. I think this is going to definitely keep us happy. I'm hoping it's not too close to Super Mario Odyssey.
I mean, the ball is in Super Mario's court on that one, as we say in the States. I mean, I'm much more excited for this one than I was for the original one, obviously because of the inclusion of the single player, but also the class system makes it more accessible to players like me who tend to die in straight shooters just frequently, as Battlefront 1 proved the few times that I played it.
last night, I literally, I felt like, because I haven't played it since the Rogue One pack came out, so it's been about 4 months, 3-4 months. I literally was like, okay, I'm dead. Run up, and run. There's another. Oh, and I'm dead. It was like, and then I got in the spaceship and crashed. Like, wow, I've completely forgotten how to play this. And just like, I was just like raw. I was just like a little fox running around Zelda, just being shot to be eaten. You know, I was just, there to be taken care of.
Yes.
Yes, right. On that note, I think that's pretty much all the Star Wars battle. I suspect it's going to probably go quiet till EA, because it's going to be on. People are going to be able to play it at there, so I think we'll probably won't hear too much more now for probably 6-8 weeks till E3. But nope, looks good. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the big titles in EA's press circuit for the next couple of months. Well, rest of the year, basically. EA, if you wanted to bring it down to Run Disney Dark Side next week, that'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, not that they're not going to, but
yeah, I'm really hoping they bring it to EGX this year, so that'll be so I can play it a bit early. But on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check us out on all of our different social medias, and you can also check out James over at Heroic Legacy or at Vagabond Peak on Twitter. Okay, guys, later.